presentation of Fox Sports.
We are Blackmore. We are Arizona.
Water, water everywhere we look here in Arizona on this Tuesday night. The Diamondbacks and Pirates ready to play the middle game of this three-game set here at Chase Field. Bob Brentley and I are poolside here in the RamCrux.com pool area, and we will do the annual pool game tonight here as the D-backs get set to face the Pittsburgh Pirates. Steve Berthew and Bob Brentley along the way. Good evening from Chase Field. BB, this is it here. Now watch your step. We got about 6 inches before we're in. That's not supposed to happen till the end.
That's why I wore my sneakers with the good gripper bottoms here. I don't want to fall in the pool.
This is a Diamondback tradition, and this is the pool game. Do this once every year, the first for Bob Brentley and I, although you've been in here before, right?
We broke this place in back in 1998. Tom Brennan and myself both ended up in the pool. Hopefully tonight only one of us will end up in the pool.
Well, it might take a pool to cool off Paul Goldschmidt, Bob, the way he's been playing off to a tremendous start this season for the D-backs.
Yeah, really no surprise. If there is a surprise about Paul Goldschmidt's offense, it's his ability to hit the right-handers this year. He had a lot of problems with that last year, but it hasn't been a problem in the early going. He's been crushing opposing pitchers. I mean, even his outs have been struck extremely well. Really good sign for the D-backs offense to get him going early on.
Yeah, and you look at those numbers against right-handers. His splits last season were dramatic. If he's going to make that jump to an elite first baseman, which he certainly can, those numbers against righties have to be where they are right now. That's going very well. A weird season last year for the Pirates starter tonight, James McDonald, Bob. He was tremendous in the first half, then really fell apart after the All-Star break last year, and in fact lost his spot in the starting rotation for the Pirates.
Well, really, James McDonald's season kind of mirrored the Pirates as a team. They played great in the first half of the season. They played great for the first part of the second half, but then they just fell apart down the stretch, and James McDonald was not innocent in all of that. You see the ERA over 7 in the second half of the season. Strikeout to walk ratio went way down. This guy's a really good one. He's been good early in the season. We'll see what happens tonight.
He can be a dominant pitcher, and as we saw there, he only gave up 2 hits in 7 innings in his last start against the Cubs, but was the tough luck loser. It's the pool show. When we come back, Brad joins us. How about if Brad goes in the pool? Will that work?
Oh, sure.
We'll talk tonight. Starting pitcher Brandon McCarthy back out there. Remember, he was the starter last Wednesday in the 5-hour, 32-minute marathon. Brought to you in part by the UPS Store. Flyers, business cards, brochures, and more. We can print that. And by George Brazil. George Brazil guarantees the lowest price on a new AC system. Call George today.
Well, it is pool night here at Chase Field, a perfect spring evening for Major League Baseball as the D-backs and Pirates play Game 2 of their 3-game series. Lots of family and friends from Fox Sports Arizona out there in the RamTux.com pool. It will be the second start tonight for Brandon McCarthy. He went against the Cardinals last week, did not figure in the decision in that marathon game against St. Louis, but he'll go tonight for the D-backs. It's interesting, since coming over from the American League, he's had to pick up some lumber and head to the dish, and he's 0 for 10 in his Major League hitting career, but he says he knows that's now a very important part of his job with the D-backs.
It's a lot of fun, and it kind of, you're playing with house money when you're up there because you're expected to fail, but success is nice. But now that you're in the National League, there is some success expected. You need to be able to move runners and do some things. So it's something I've had to work on, but it's still kind of a fun thing where you feel like a little kid getting in the box and you're just sort of up there to play.
Yeah, and this is a pitching staff that takes a great deal of pride in what they do at the plate, and Brandon is expected to carry his load as well. Well, stick around. We've got baseball headed your way in just a little bit. It's all about the pool. Can they make the Buccos walk the plank? Steve and Bob from out there in the pool in just a bit on Fox Sports Arizona.
Pool. Steve Berthie and Bob Brentley back with you. Pirates and D-backs set to play the second of a 3-game series here tonight at Chase Field. And hey, we have a special offer good only during this broadcast. You can order a D-backs 4-pack ticket deal during tonight's game, and you will get a 5th game for free. So this is the deal. While we're on the air here over the course of this broadcast, you can call up. We literally have operators standing by. You can order the D-backs 4-pack ticket deal, and we'll give you a 5th game for free. This is a tremendous offer, and it's only good during the game here. So to take advantage, please call 602-462-4600. 602-462-4600. Pick up your D-backs 4-pack and get a 5th game for free. And Bob, that is a tremendous deal, good only during this telecast.
I can't imagine a better deal than that. I mean, you get a free ticket, you buy the 4-pack, and why not come out here and watch this exciting Diamondbacks ball club? Maybe get a seat out here close to the pool, watch people jumping in. What a deal.
Let's take a look at our Arizona 4 Diamondbacks starting pitcher. It is Brandon McCarthy making his first career start against the Pirates.
And we talked about it in the pregame show. A little bit of a disappointing start to the season, although he did throw 21 of 25 first pitch strikes, which is important for anybody, but especially for Brandon McCarthy. You see his numbers from an abbreviated season last year.
The long dismissed starter in Wednesday night's record-setting 5-hour, 32-minute marathon here at Chase against the Cardinals. He was leading 5-4 through 5, gave up a single and a double to start the 6th, and was removed from the game. The Diamondbacks, of course, went on to win 10-9 in 16 innings, 10 innings after Brandon was pulled from the game, and he's back out here tonight. Starling Marte leads it off for the Pirates, and we're underway on pool night here at Chase Field. Here are the numbers from Brandon McCarthy in his last start. Got the no decision against the Cardinals. 6 earned on 9 hits in 5. Base hit center field. They have not been able to get Starling Marte out in this series. He is rolling here. Here's the Pittsburgh Pirates lineup now, and keep in mind Marte and Andrew McCutchen are driving the offense so far for these guys this season. Marte and McCutchen have combined to collect 14 of Pittsburgh's first 26 hits. They've scored 8 of their 13 runs.
Garrett Jones hiding in the middle of that lineup with a long home run in the ball game last night. A lot of the Pirates struggling offensively in the early going, but the M&M guys, Marte and McCutchen, are the two guys you really have to keep an eye on.
So Marte's on with a single. He's now reached safely in 7 of their 8 games, and he is now 7 for 13 over the last 3 for Clint Hurdle. He's led off in every game for Pittsburgh this year. Second baseman Neil Walker steps in, and Neil, conversely, is off to a very slow start. 2 for 24 as he steps in here. Last night 0 for 4. Walker hitless in his last 19 at-bats after he reached safely in 4 of his first 8 plate appearances this year. Here goes Marte. Good speed. He's in there with a stolen base. Miguel Montero behind the plate tonight for the D-backs. And this guy, Bob, really is becoming an electric player to watch.
And you can just see his confidence building with each solid at-bat. That line drive into center field to start the ball game tonight. Takes off for second base, gets a great jump, tremendous speed. 12 out of 17 last year. I have a feeling he's going to improve upon those numbers this year.
So Marte, the leadoff man in scoring position, no outs, and a 1-1 count here on Neil Walker. Walker had a tough spring, hit only 200 in 19 games. One and two.
I'll tell you, Steve, one thing you like about the exaggerated pull shift that the Diamondbacks are now playing with Neil Walker at the plate, it puts Cliff Pennington in a position where Marte has to be very careful taking his lead off of second base. You see how close Pennington is to him. It'd be very easy to sneak in behind.
There's Cliff Pennington behind Starling Marte. They call it in Pittsburgh the Marte Parte. And we're starting to see why, certainly in this series. 1-2 now. Marte's back. McCarthy steps off. Neil Walker last season split time between 2nd and 5th in the order. Well, this year Clint Hurdle had been experimenting with Garrett Jones in the 2-hole. And Walker dropped down lower in the order, where Hurdle said he likes Walker's bat, chance to drive some people in. But that experiment lasted about, well, 1 series, and they've switched it now. So here's Walker in the 2-hole, and Garrett Jones batting cleanup. Broken bat. Foul ball. Here's the D-backs tonight defensively. Eric Chavez in at third, Bob, and Martin Prado in left. Gerardo Parra in center field tonight.
Yeah, getting another left-handed bat in the lineup against James McDonald. Not always something that managers do. McDonald splits would say that the righties actually hit him better and hit him better for power than the lefties, but Kurt Gibson trying to mix Eric Chavez in there from time to time to keep his bat hot.
There's Jason Kubel right in front of us here, actually, as we're out by the pool. There we are. Hello. Do your Queen of England wave, Bob. Hello. 1-2. I tell you what, this is a pretty good view from out here, I have to say. Two and two now. Walker, a Pennsylvania guy, born in Pittsburgh. First round pick by the Pirates in the 04 draft. The 11th player selected overall. 1 spot ahead of Jared Weaver, who's now got a serious elbow injury for the Angels. And you're wondering where Anaheim's pitching is going to come from. Now you're really wondering.
You're talking about Neil Walker hitting in that 2 spot after a failed experiment with Garrett Jones. You would think there would be fist fights to get in that number 2 spot in the lineup ahead of Andrew McCutchen.
Oh, yeah. And with the way Marte is getting on base, too, now. Walker's 14 home runs last year, a career high. The most by a Pirate second baseman since Warren Morris hit 15 in 1999. All 14 home runs for Walker last year came while batting left-handed, so be careful here. Center field. Parra racing in. Right in front of us. Makes the catch. Marte back to second. 1 away.
And this really is a different perspective for us out here as opposed to sitting high above home plate. Really get an opportunity to see how much ground these outfielders cover on even a semi-routine ball off the bat of Neil Walker. Parra closes ground quickly, makes a catch about waist high, and then immediately checks on Marte in there at second base.
Well, here's Andrew McCutchen now. He's hit safely in 6 of the Pirates' first 7 games. 1 for 2 here last night. A double, a walk, and 2 RBI. Coming off a sensational breakthrough season. For the year, there you see it, 6 for 23, a homer and 6 RBIs. He's also stolen 4 bases, which, as Bob told us last night, McCutchen has said it's going to be a priority for him this year. I'm going to run a little more.
Well, there's no question he has base stealing speed. Just try to pick his spots better, pick better counts to run on. And with his speed, I have no doubts this guy could obviously set a career high for himself, but maybe among the league leaders.
In the air right field, Jason Kubel coming in. Makes a nice running catch at the fence. Marte tags second to third. Heads up play there by Starling Marte. Because Bob Kubel, with his momentum carrying him into the wall, was not going to be able to stop, pivot, and make that throw.
Yeah, it's just a smart base running play. If you think that ball's going to be in foul territory and it was barely into foul territory, go ahead and tag up. Never know what's going to happen on a foul ball. That defender may fall down. In this case, as you mentioned, Kubel's momentum carries him right into the sidewall. Marte is easily able to tag in advance.
Garrett Jones 1 for 4 last night, including his first home run of the year. He started the Pirates' first 2 games this season in right field, batting second. 2 games of this series, he's played first base and hit cleanup. 3 for 18 here. 1-0. Jones liked this ballpark. He likes it a lot. 326 here, career. 3 homers in 14 games.
Only 3 for 18 in the early going this season. That's a 167 average. We mentioned the home run he hit in the ball game last night. And first base open and the right-handed hitting Russell Martin on deck, who has yet to record a base hit this year. I'd be very careful with this guy.
Here's the home run last night. Carried out deep to right field off Josh Coleman late in the game.
So that's the danger zone for just about every left-handed hitter in baseball. That pitch down and in where they can just drop the bat head. Jones hit the living daylights out of that one.
27 homers last year, 25 against righties. And McCarthy's behind here, 3-0. I don't know if you want to just put him on here, Bob, and work to Martin, who, as you said, doesn't have a hit yet this year. Why mess with a guy that can hit 500 feet?
Well, he does have holes in his swing, but the way he hits in this ballpark, I would.
Oh, I only say that because he's behind 3-0 here.
Well, little cutter on the inside corner that time. You saw the reaction from Jones. It looked like he was taking the whole way, but that won't be the case on this 3-1 pitch.
Marte at third, top 1 just underway here, Chase, on pool night. This is a view from, actually, we're right next to the cameraman that's shooting that. The whole crew's out here, in fact. 3-2 now. So McCarthy's back here. He's got it full. Martin on deck. Starling Marte, leadoff single, stole second, and advanced to third on a foul ball out by McCutchen. McCarthy trying to strand Marte at third. Aaron Hill can't backhand it. The run will score. 1-0 Pirates. So just like last night, Starling Marte leads off the game with a single and then scores a run.
Tough two-hopper right there. That second hopper really came up on Aaron Hill. He tried to make the backhanded play. Unfortunately, the ball hits the heel of his glove. By the time Cliff Pennington recovers, no chance to get Garrett Jones at first base.
They give Garrett Jones a single and an RBI. Russell Martin now. Martin gives it a ride to left. Prado can't get it. It's off the wall and into the seats. Ground rule double. And that's a break for the D-backs there, because Jones may have scored on that if it carried off the wall and got behind Prado. For a guy that hadn't got a base hit all year long, he laced that to left field.
Smile on the face of Russell Martin after finally getting off to Schneid. Little cut fastball just didn't get out there far enough. He's able to barrel it up. Screaming line drive over the head of Martin Prado for a book rule double.
Chavez at third tonight. Prado in left. There's Russell Martin. That brings up Pedro Alvarez. And if you need a strikeout to get out of the inning, Alvarez is your man. He is 2 for 25 this season with 12 strikeouts. He struck out 12 times so far in 25 at-bats. Hitless in his last 17 at-bats after opening 2 for 8.
And we talked about it in last night's ball game. A lot of the offensive struggles for the Pirates in the early going this year was based on the fact they weren't being aggressive enough, taking a lot of very hittable strikes, falling behind in counts, and then really having to battle. Looks like they're going to be a little more aggressive in this series.
1-1. Here's your scorecard. Keeping score out here at the pool. Got the whole Fox Sports Arizona crew. Everybody's families out here having a great time. We got kids in the pool. Hot tub going back here. There it is. There's Bob and I. It's a nice vantage point out here. I'm not brave enough to sit in the chair like you are, though. Aaron Hill. McCarthy strands 2, but the Pirates get 1. Marte single, Jones single, 1-0 Pittsburgh. D-backs coming up here, bottom 1 from the pool here at Chase Field. The annual pool show here from Chase Field. Pirates get a run against Brandon McCarthy in the top of the first, and now Kurt Gibson sends his Arizona Diamondbacks up here and trying to even this series up at a game apiece tonight against James McDonald.
They've been operating under that keep the line moving model, and it's worked pretty well for him up to this point. Parra in that leadoff spot doing an outstanding job of setting the table, driving the ball to all parts of the ballpark. We talked about Paul Goldschmidt a little bit in the open of the show, having himself a nice start to the season. Jason Kubel's been hitting the ball well. Pretty much everybody up and down the lineup swinging it well.
James McDonald, the tough luck loser in his last start, 7 innings of 2-hit ball, gave up only 1 run against the Cubs. That was last Thursday. He walked 2 and struck out 4 in that game. It was a 3-2 Pittsburgh loss. He threw 97 pitches, and there are his numbers. Although really, Bob, they don't tell the whole story. He was a dramatically different pitcher after the All-Star break, and not in a good way. We talked about that in the pregame.
Fastball, curveball, slider combination from McDonald can be overpowering at times with his fastball.
Gerardo Parra, 12 for 33. There are the numbers in McDonald's last start. Pitched very well, but ended up stuck with a loss against the Cubs. Gerardo Parra, 364, a homer and 2 RBI. The Parra fan club is out there. They'd like the home run, please. Gerardo doing a great job as the leadoff man. He's got a .417 on base percentage as he steps in here. Mentioned James McDonald, very good during the first half of last season. He went 9-3. The ERA was 2.37 in 17 games before the All-Star break. Leadoff walk for Gerardo Parra. In fact, McDonald became the only Pittsburgh starter since 1900 to allow 3 or fewer runs in each of his first 14 starts in a season. But then look what happened there second half. After the break, 3-5, the ERA jumped over 7.5, and he actually was dropped from the rotation at one point. And they need him to be as consistent as he was in the first half all season long. And if he can do that, they can contend in the NL Central. Roof open here, leadoff man on for the Diamondbacks, and Martin Prado steps in here. We're way out there by the pool. Just under the Diamond Club here. Here we are. Bob Brenly is sitting down. I'm standing because, as you can see here, watch this. That's one step and that's it. So if things suddenly go quiet, you'll know what happened. Oh, 0-1 to Martin Prado, 10 for 36, a homer, 4 RBIs. That's a .278 start.
And McDonald had some issues in the first inning last year. An ERA of nearly 7 in the first inning of games that he worked. Walked 20 guys, gave up 9 bombs in the first inning.
Prado has hit safely in 5 straight games and 6 of 7 this year. He's behind here, 0-1. Strike. Clint Fagan is the home plate umpire tonight. He is a AAA fill-in. Here's Clint. He has the plate tonight. Gary Darling at first, Paul Emmel at second, and Bruce Dreckman at third base. 0-2 to Martin Prado. Shoots it down the right field line, foul. Here's another look at the umpire crew. There's Clint. These guys get vacation over the course of the year, so occasionally you'll have a minor league umpire filling in. Gary Darling, the crew chief at first base. There's Paul Emmel at second. And Bruce Dreckman, who had the plate last night, is at third. One and two.
You know, Steve, it's not like me to say nice things about umpires, but the reality is these guys don't have a home field. Yeah, they're on the road all summer long unless you happen to live in a National League city, and even then you may only make a trip or two into your hometown.
They are a necessary evil, in the opinion of some.
I would tend to agree with that statement.
These guys are, come on, these guys are pros. 1-2. Prado is a tough out up there, boy. Wow.
You know, a lot of hitters take the first 2 pitches for called strikes, and you would feel like, geez, this at bat's over already. Who's the next hitter? But not with Martin Prado. He's not afraid to hit with 2 strikes. He fouls off the tough ones. Tries to give that pitcher an opportunity to make a mistake.
Last year, 301, 10 homers and 70 RBIs. Hit 42 doubles. Ring him up, sit him down, says Clint Fagan. 1 away. Prado strikes out looking. A reminder, every time a Diamondbacks player hits a home run this season, Fulton Homes will donate $150 to the Central Arizona Mountain Rescue Association. So Prado strikes out 1 away. Here's Aaron Hill.
That was the big hook for strike 3 to Martin Prado. Really good pitch for James McDonald. When he has it working, he can change speeds on it, throw a hard breaking ball with a lot of downward movement. He can roll one up there like a changeup.
Aaron Hill 10 for 32. That's 313. A couple of home runs, 5 RBIs. He has reached base safely either with a hit or a walk in all 7 games this year, and has really settled in nicely to that 3-hole in the order. The way Parra's getting on base all the time, there he is over at first after a leadoff walk, and you've got Prado, who's a tremendous 2-hole hitter. Aaron Hill can drive the ball and find some gaps. Nice block by Russell Martin there, and Parra's back.
You saw the backhanded block that time by Russell Martin. I've talked about it many times before. A catcher never anticipates a fastball in the dirt. A curveball, sure. A split finger or changeup, absolutely. But when you call for a fastball from a major league pitcher, you expect it to be somewhere close to the target. That time that ball bounced out in front of home plate. All Martin could do was backhand it, knock it down, keep it in front.
There's the view from out here at the pool. Packed house out here as always. The RamTrucks.com pool area. Chase Field. 2-0 now to Aaron Hill. Miguel Montero is on deck. Last season, what a season. 302, 26 homers, 85 RBIs, 44 doubles, and 2 cycles.
And the green light here, 3-0.
There's another one in the dirt, Bob. So first and second, 1 out for the D-backs. 2 walks in the inning already for McDonald.
Well, I guess if you're a Pirates fan, you would say that's better that he misses down there than lead pitches up over the heart of the plate. McDonald does a real nice job of getting that ball going downhill. A bunch of downward plane, uses his height, has huge hands.
And a huge hand for Miguel Montero. 7 for 24. Then Mitch is shooting notebooks again.
I think that's in the Pirates dugout or bullpen, perhaps.
A little message just for Mitch Riggin in the truck back there. Beat it, Mitch. Keep your cameras out of here. We apologize to the Pittsburgh Pirates for any ill will or no harm intended. Full apologies. Got a little overzealous with our camera work last night.
I don't think we exposed any secrets. We talked about it at the time last night. Every bit of information you see in both dugouts is available to everybody.
At least they had a sense of humor about it there. That's what's funny. And McDonald, Bobby's already walked 2 guys, and he's behind here 2-0. And he's thrown some fastballs in the dirt. A lot of balls here.
We talked about his first inning issues last year. Hopefully the D-backs will be able to take advantage.
He's thrown 16 pitches, only 5 for strikes. 2 on, hitters count here for Miguel Montero. Get one to drive right here. Left field. It drops in by McCutcheon. Power will score. They'll wave Aaron Hill. 2-run double for Miguel Montero. 2-1 Diamondbacks. He got one to drive.
With the quality of swings that a hitter is able to take when the count is in his favor. Much more aggressive. That wasn't a horrible pitch down and away from Montero, but a very aggressive swing produces that one hopper to the warning track. Diamondbacks take a lead. Now that hitter falls behind in the count. You have to expand your zone a little bit. You have to protect the plate a little bit more. Your swing is not going to be nearly as aggressive as it is when you're 2-0, 3-1, 3-0.
And we've talked about that throughout the season, Bob. The way Diamondbacks pitchers have been getting ahead and throwing first pitch strikes. We've said it time and time again, the best pitch you can throw is strike 1. And now their hottest hitter is up, Paul Goldschmidt, 11 for 30. Goldie has hit safely in 5 straight games. He's also got an RBI in 5 straight games. That ties a career high. Two homers, 8 RBIs, 4 doubles. And he's hitting right-hand pitching, which is big.
Apparently, we're just a little bit south of the takeoff pattern from Sky Harbor tonight. Kind of reminds me of old Shea Stadium.
Oh, Citi Field's not much better. Right at the end of the runway. We'll be out there pretty soon, actually. Right to Alvarez. They can't double off Montero, who's back in time.
That's a pretty good read right there by Miggy. Obviously wants to try to get a good secondary lead and score on a base hit. That liner looked like it was headed for the left field corner. Alvarez went up the ladder, made the catch on the line drive. Even though Miguel's not fast, I consider him to be a really good base runner. He does the best he can with what he has available.
Jason Kubel, the right fielder, 8-for-26. That's 308. A homer and 4 RBI. McDonald is behind again here, 1-0. Now, let's see, 21 pitches, 13 of them balls. Doing the little things, Bob. They've been doing it all year long, and it's producing wins.
And that reinforcement is great. I mean, it's one thing to try to do the little things, but if you don't get those guys on the plate, you don't win ball games.
Kubel gives it a ride to left. Marte at the wall, and it's gone. Jason Kubel, a 2-run shot. Second home run of the season for Kubel, and it's 4-1 D-backs. That's another Fulton home run, $150 going to the Central Arizona Mountain Rescue Association. And the Pirates may need to rescue James McDonald here. They've got 4 in the first.
Boy, he is really laboring. He's missed the strike zone by a wide margin or thrown it right down the middle of the plate. Jason Kubel now 3 for 3 lifetime against Jason McDonald. And this time, James McDonald rather. And this one a long home run to the opposite field.
That's our view from the pool here. And it looks good. 4-1 D-backs. Chavez in now. Tell you what, for a guy that really struggled all spring long, and it went on for a legit 6-8 weeks, Jason really looked out of sorts. I mean, his knee was bothering him. He had the ankle issue. But he has really got off to a great start here. As soon as they had opening day, he answered the bell. Jason Kubel now 9 for 27 on the year. 2 homers.
Boy, and always very encouraging for a hitting coach when you see your guys going to the opposite field with power. I mean, it's one thing to get a mistake pitch on the inside part of the plate and hit it to your pull field for a home run. We know Jason Kubel has big time power to right field, but to drive that ball the way he did to left, that's a great sign.
0-2 now to Eric Chavez, 3 for 12, and there's an unusual shift out there for Chavez. See if we can get it for you.
Big time shift. Pedro Alvarez is playing where a shortstop would play, up the middle of the field. 3 defenders on the right side.
Look at that left-hand side of the field. It hits the bag. Fair ball. Chavez beats it out.
How about that?
He'll take it. Look at the smile.
The baseball gods were smiling on Eric Chavez right here. Little chopper right down the line. Garrett Jones gets in position to make the play, hits off the inside corner of the bag, and Chavez is able to beat McDonald over there, leg it out for an infield single.
I mean, Garrett was in perfect position, all set. McDonald was over there covering, but not much he can do there. Eric hustling up the line, beats it out. Here's Cliff Pennington now. 2 outs and a man on. Here's another one in the dirt, Bob.
Just can't seem to find a good release point out there to consistently throw quality strikes. As I mentioned a moment ago, missing by a lot or throwing it right in the hitting zone. Two
2-0. 8th man to bat in this inning for Arizona. McDonald walked 2 of the first 3 he faced. Both walks scored. And he's behind here, 2-0. Two and 1. Cliff Pennington 8 for 30. That's 267. No homers and 2 RBIs. Cliff getting on base at a 324 clip. Cliff Pennington, born in Corpus Christi, Texas, went to high school there. And he became a Texas A&M Aggie. Hit .345 in 3 seasons in College Station. Boy, he is all over the place. I mean, he just pitched a brilliant game in freezing conditions against the Cubs. Gave up only 2 hits in 7, but he's really having problems finding the plate. I mean, there's command and then there's control, which is just throwing strikes. There goes Chavez. Struck him out. McDonald gets out of the inning. But he walks 2, gives up a 2-run double, and then this 2-run home run to Jason Kubel. Kubel going the other way. His second home run of the year makes it 4-1 Diamondbacks through 1. You never know around here. Diamondbacks up 4-1 after 1 on the Pittsburgh Pirates. It's the annual pool game, and I would like to personally thank each and every one of the 22% who say no. It's the AT&T Twitter poll question. Should I go in the pool? And clearly the answer is no. No jumping. We'll see if those numbers change. Hopefully they will, but dramatically over the course of the game. Snyder, Barmas, and McDonald, 7, 8, 9 here. Here's Travis Snyder, the right fielder. 1 for 10 on the season so far. Had a 2-run single in the first inning last night against Trevor Cahill. 1 for 3 with 2 RBI. 1-1 now from Brandon McCarthy, making his second start as an Arizona Diamondback after starting the 5-hour and 32-minute marathon last Wednesday. Which reminds me, Bob, I don't want to forget the 2 ticket deals we have going here. One, of course, after the 5-hour 32-minute game, you can still get upper level seats here at Chase Field for tomorrow afternoon's game for $5.32 in celebration of the record-setting game at Chase last week. That's hit into the left field corner. Snyder take the turn. He'll have second. Prado pulls it out of the corner there and gets it in. Leadoff double here in the second for Travis Snyder. So just like the first inning, the Pirates have the leadoff man on.
Both starting pitchers having trouble settling in here tonight, and the respective offenses are not giving them much breathing room. Everything that's hittable is being hit. Snyder with that inside out swing drives one down into the left field corner for Martin Prado. He realizes might as well just let it hit the fence, hold him to 2. Got to go to work now.
Third hit of the game for Pittsburgh. Here's Clint Barmas. One and 0 Barmas, 2 for 17 on the year, a couple of doubles. He's batting .118. 2 for 17 with 6 strikeouts. He goes into tonight 3 hits shy of 800 for his career. but had a tough spring. Only hit 178 in 17 games, and he's off to a slow start. Snyder off second. 2-0.
A little breezy out here, partner. We should have brought more paperweights.
Yeah, I was told to wear shorts because it was going to be pool weather. There's a strike, 2-1. But yeah, we're going to need, Studley, what happened to the Wade Miley Garden Gnome? Did we forget that in the booth? I was going to use that as a paperweight because I like to have the Wade Miley Garden Gnome figure with us at all times, watching over everything as Garden Gnomes do. 2-1 to Clint Balmas.
Oh, he did make the trip.
Yeah, here it is.
Wade
Where's
is
Mitch? Hey, Mitch.
Everywhere.
You got this? There is the Wade Miley Garden Gnome. Of course, that's coming up at a future date here. Another reason to get your D-backs 4-pack. Pick Wade Miley Garden Gnome night as one of your games. I'm going to put Wade up here looking over the outfield. There it is. Walked him. First 2 men on here in the second for the Pirates. Yeah, he did not look at all comfortable, Bob, Brandon McCarthy, in his first start, and doesn't look comfortable here tonight. Just not in any kind of rhythm. Just seems like he can't get settled in. Alan Trammell in the middle there, next to Charles Nagy and Kurt Gibson.
You would assume an obvious bunt situation here with James McDonald, the pitcher, at the plate. Couple of runners on base. Pirates trailing by 3 early in the ball game.
There's Goldie weighing in on the grass at first. McDonald will bunt. Gets it down. They go to third. And they can't quite turn it. It got away from Aaron Hill, and now the runner gets into third base. They got Snyder at third, but Barmas ran all the way in there, and McDonald is safe at first.
Now this is the wheel play. Ball bunted to third base. Chavez right there. Fires to Cliff Pennington, who thinks he has enough time to relay on and get McDonald. Had that ball reach first base in the air, or Aaron Hill picks it out of the dirt, that turns into a double play. Unfortunately, Aaron, with that small second baseman's glove, just can't pick it out of the dirt. Barmas heads up on the bases. Round second, ends up at third base himself.
So they're on the corners with 1 out. And here's Starling Marte. Singled, stole a base, and scored his last time up back at the first. I'm sorry, Bob. It was a fielder's choice, out 5-6 at third. And then it's E6 on the throw from Pennington at third base at the time over the first. So E6 has Barmas in at third. Error to Cliff Pennington. McDonald reaches on a fielder's choice. And Snyder is forced 5-6. 1-1 now. Saw Brandon McCarthy walk Barmas earlier in the inning. In his first start this season, he was ahead all night long. First pitch strikes to 21 of 25 batters. Aaron Hill at second. They get 1. Pennington turns it over, and they strand 2. A little bit of trouble there for Brandon McCarthy, but the Diamondbacks defense continues doing the little things well. And after missing on 1 double play, they get the other. And it's 4-1 as we go bottom 2 here at Chase.
The night before games, and then you'd have games that ended at 11 o'clock, and the closest TGI Friday would be an hour away, so you'd have to take a cab out to it, and it was just kind of a really sad, where just every 4 days or every 5 days, it's just this sense of dread that I have to go find this now and create this anxiety, and I've been way better since I've been able to just kind of get rid of all that.
Our Geico quote of the game, Brandon McCarthy used to have some pretty strange pregame superstitions, as you just mentioned right there. Every game, every night before he had to start, he would have to eat at a TGI Fridays. And, you know, if he still did it here, that's a pretty good location. He wouldn't have to go anywhere. No cab fare to get to this TGI Fridays. But he said he scrapped all of that because he was just getting so wrapped up in so many different little quirks that he would have to do. But that's a pretty strange one. Hour cab ride to get a little TGI Fridays.
Well, we could be doing the show from up there.
I think we've done some up there. Let's do it.
Why did we stop? McCarthy grounds out.
All you can eat ribs and burgers up there.
We had Cold Stone in the booth last night, but we're out here by the pool, which is great too. Everybody's got the family out here in the hot tub. Got a couple of home run balls during batting practice.
It can be a little startling from time to time when you hear one of those kids jump in the pool doing a cannonball, and the splash kind of comes up the back here. That's something we don't normally get.
They're following you from your cannonball years ago.
I think the water is still landing from that cannonball.
Gerardo Parra walked and scored his first time up against James McDonald, who gave up 4 in the first. 2-run double by Montero, 2-run homer by Kubel.
Listening to Brandon McCarthy talk about his superstitions, that is not uncommon in the game of baseball. There's a lot weirder superstitions than that. Bob Melvin, my bench coach here in Arizona for a couple of years, used to keep the pens that he would use on a given night in the freezer. Not sure why.
What?
They found their way into the freezer one night, and we won a ball game. So of course they have to go in there the next night, and we win again. So that became one of our go-to things. Another time we were in Philadelphia, and the clubby there put out A&W root beer barrels, so, you know, little hard candies, and Mel put one in his mouth before a ball game. We went out and beat the Phillies, so we had to find a grocery store that sold A&W root beer barrels the next morning.
Third walk of the game already.
Not that we're superstitious or anything, you know.
Oh, there goes all the notes.
Left field, Martin Prado.
Yeah, it's getting a little windy out here. Yeah, here's Martin Prado, struck out looking his first time up.
A little breezy yesterday. How breezy was it? It actually blew a bug out of my eye.
You got your A-list material out, I see, for the pool show. And it was so windy. There goes Parra. Throw gets into center. They've been aggressive all spring long, and that continues for Gerardo Parra. Boy, when he goes into second base, it's a collision. Some collide with Gene Segura in Milwaukee. Now he's just banging into the bag.
A lot of tail on that throw to second base, and unfortunately, as he ends up his head first slide, he's looking back toward the infield. Did not see that ball get away into shallow center. Possibly could have advanced on to third base, but in scoring position to second nonetheless.
Second steal of the year for Gerardo Parra. He's been on base twice as the leadoff man. That's what you're looking for.
And now creates havoc on the bases. Just have to be concerned with him. The infielders jockeying him back to the bag at second. James McDonald paying a lot of attention to him. That's when you start to make mistakes to the hitter at the plate.
Oh, 0-2 now. Now, Bob, Prado is up there at bat right now. He would be the 6th run of the game. And that's a reminder that anytime the D-backs score 6 runs or more, Taco Bell giving away 3 free tacos with the purchase of a large drink between 4 and 6 the following day at participating locations.
I like the way you think.
Right down the middle, and Prado strikes out. Second time of the game he struck out looking.
Yeah, first time was on the big overhand curveball. We're going to get a look at this strike 3. Once again, that big curveball kind of knee buckles Martin Prado as he leans back out of that right-handed batter's box and takes a called third.
So McDonald has walked 3. He struck out 3. Here's Aaron Hill, who walked and scored in the first. Barnes. through 2, 4-1 Diamondbacks here at Chase Field. Proud partner of the Arizona Diamondbacks. By Scottsdale Healthcare. Get back in the game with Scottsdale Healthcare Orthopedic Services. And by Gila River, proud partner of the Arizona Diamondbacks. Out here by the pool, Steve Berthiaume and Bob Renly. D-backs lead the Pirates 4-1 as we get set for the top of the third inning here at Chase Field. Neil Walker, Andrew McCutchen, and Garrett Jones for the Pirates. 2, 3, and 4. The whole family's out here. Hanging out in the hot tub, the pool. A RamTrucks.com pool. Neil Walker lined out to center his first time up. Walker now 2 for 25 on the year.
What Joe tell us before the ball game, 83.7 degrees the water in the pool. Sure, the water in the hot tub's a lot warmer than that, and you need it tonight. It's a little chilly.
Yeah, it's a little blustery out here, I got to tell you. There we are. It's our position. Hello. One and 2 now to Neil Walker. Look at that, Bob. Another solid play by our guys in the corners. They are just putting those guys at Miller Park to shame.
Yeah, best fielding ball dudes in baseball right here. They make all the plays.
Wayne Laskin in action here. Got out there, read the carom right.
Yeah. Good footwork, 2 hands, looked it all the way into the glove.
It was a rough weekend for the boys in Milwaukee.
Yeah, that guy down in left field, he wasn't even trying.
Yeah, that was Bush League.
Ridiculous. Check the transactions. He'll be DFA, designated for assignment.
There's Lon Selecta. He's down there at left field. Wayne Laskin in right. Walker strikes out, 1 down. First strikeout of the game for Brandon McCarthy.
Center fielder Andrew McCutchen.
Andrew McCutchen fouled out to right field his first time up. You know, it was funny, after his brilliant season, as if it wasn't enough, McCutchen actually helped out a fan's wedding proposal this winter. Did you see this on the YouTube?
Did not.
A fan asked McCutchen if he would hand him an engagement ring so he could pop the question. This was at a Pirates Fan Fest caravan. So they're all lined up at the autograph table, and Andrew was sitting down there signing autographs, and they come up to the front of the line. And McCutchen, who, by the way, is totally in on the whole thing, he's got a baseball that the fan hands him. He signs it, says thank you very much, hands it back to the young lady. And there's a base hit into left. And the young lady says thank you. And then Andrew says, well, hold on, don't forget this. And he hands a little box to the boyfriend. The boyfriend opens it up. The ring is in there. He drops to one knee, and she starts bawling.
Oh, my.
She said yes, and it all worked out. So an assist there for Andrew McCutchen. And you can actually check that video out on YouTube. Kind of funny.
It's not everybody that can get a perennial National League All-Star to help out with your wedding proposal. How about that?
Yep. It worked out nicely. At least so far as we know. You never know. Things come up, and, well, that's a whole other show. Here's Garrett Jones.
We'll leave that to Jody and Joe.
Jones had an RBI single his first time up. So now 4 for 19 on the year. Gives it a ride to center. Parra started in, now backs up. McCutchen back to first. 2 down. Don't forget, we have guys on the phone right now ready to take your call, and you can order a D-backs 4-pack ticket deal only during tonight's broadcast. And if you call during the game tonight, we're going to give you the 5th game for free. This is a fantastic deal, and it's only good during the game tonight. We've got people on the phones right now. You call up, you order your D-backs 4-pack ticket deal, and you get a 5th game absolutely free. And you can take advantage right now. You got until the end of the game, 602-462-4600. Another fantastic ticket deal here from the D-backs. You can get in tomorrow for $5.32 on all the upper level seating in celebration of the marathon game here, the Record Center last week. Russell Martin doubled his first time up, his first hit of the year, so he's now 1 for 18. Russell Martin's an interesting guy. He was born in East York, Ontario, lived in Paris for a while when he was a kid, grew up in Montreal, played third base at Chipola Junior College in Florida, and was set to go to NC State in Raleigh, but then was drafted by the Dodgers in the 17th round. His middle name is Coltrane, in tribute to jazz musician John Coltrane. Russell's father is an accomplished saxophone player, big music guy. In fact, he once played the national anthem at Dodger Stadium. So he traveled all over the world, and Russell went with him. You got to keep a very close eye on Andrew McCutchen over there, already with 4 stolen bases this season. There's McCutchen at first.
You don't have to tell Kirk Gibson to keep an eye on Andrew McCutchen. He keeps an eye on every opposing base runner.
Last season with the Yankees, 211, a career high 21 home runs and 53 RBI. It's like Gibby got out the razor. They lost. They had a shave, I guess, right? That's the deal?
Yeah, Rally Beard had to go away.
I wonder if his pens are in the freezer.
Keep an eye on him. By the 8th inning, he may have about a half a beard.
To left. Prado looking up. Foul ball. And I'm going to tell you right now, we don't have the greatest angle on the ball sit down the left field line. So bear with us from the pool here.
Yeah, I stopped watching the baseball and kept my eye on the third base umpire. We really have no perspective as to fair or foul down that left field line.
Let's see. Yep, just foul. Good shot right there. Just to the left of the foul pole. Are you one of these people that wants to say fair pole?
No, I mean.
Yeah, thank you.
It is fair if it hits the pole, but, you know, it's been called that forever. We're not going to reinvent things.
Thank you. It's like people that say 3 metal instead of 3 wood. It's like it's titanium, I get it, but it's still a 3 wood. 4-1 D-backs, 2-run double by Miguel Montero and a 2-run homer by Jason Kubel in the first. And Brandon McCarthy keeping a close eye on Andrew McCutchen, but he's behind here 2-1 to Russell Martin, who doubled his last time up. 3-1 now. 48 pitches for Brandon, 30 for strikes. Three and 2. Pedro Alvarez is on deck. Russell, despite the fact he's only got 1 hit all year, has reached base safely in each of his last 5 games now. There goes the runner. There's the strikeout, and that's the inning. The Pirates get a base hit. They leave one. We'll go bottom 3. It's 4-1 Diamondbacks. At the RamTrucks.com pool area. Proud partner of the Arizona Diamondbacks. Looks good. Now you have a service like this for your car as well, right?
Right, yeah.
You have a team of people that come over, and you borrow from Greg Schulte, and they come after they're done with the governor's car, they come over and they take care of your car.
I could have used it this morning. I don't know what your car looked like when you left here last night, but after the dust storms all afternoon, the rain we had late in the ball game, it was an ugly looking mess.
It was a mess. A little blustery out here at the pool tonight. Montero, Goldschmidt, Kubel, 4, 5, and 6 here in the third. Montero had a 2-run double his first time up. So Miggy stepping in here now, 8 for 25 on the year. One and 0.
Boy, McDonald got away with one there. A hanging changeup at 82 miles per hour. Looked like Miggy was geared fastball that time. Just could not pull the trigger.
We talked about the way James McDonald struggled after the All-Star break last year, and he said really he was just trying to do too much. And he talked about it in what I thought was an interesting way. He said when he was out there struggling on the mound, he said, I tried to put it here instead of just saying here it is, which I thought was an unusual way to put it, but you sort of get the point. And he said that really changed his mentality on the mound. It made him a less aggressive pitcher, got him away from what had made him so successful during the first half of the year. There's Baxter. Where is Baxter? Oh, there he is. He's behind us. Uh-oh, he's getting... Oh, no. No, Baxter, no. This is not Europe.
Nobody wants to see that.
This is not Nice. We're not on the Riviera. Don't put on your Speedo. This is... Oh, this could get ugly.
Oh, they're children present,
Yes,
too.
thank
Come
you.
on.
Struck him out. 4th strikeout for James McDonald.
Yeah, that could be traumatic for some of these children here tonight.
Oh, it might be just traumatic for me. I mean... Let's see. Is he coming down here? Where is he?
Right behind him.
Baxter, don't... no. Oh, that's funny. See? No. Nope. See, now when you argue with a mascot, you can't actually use language, so...
Oh, now they got a chant going.
What's happening in the game? Paul Goldschmidt, left field. Wynn might have kept that in. Baxter, I'm going to... Seriously, you can put this on. That's professional broadcasting right there. There's nothing like mascot antics and hijinks.
Well, the good news is he can't sneak up on you, partner, because we've got cameras all over Baxter. Yeah, we will monitor that situation.
Well, he can't sneak up on me because 3 feet behind me there's a giant pool of water, so that's also.
Well, Baxter has a submarine. You didn't know that?
He's got everything. So Goldschmidt files out. Here's Jason Kubel, last time up at a 2-run shot.
Yeah, we talked about the winds in here tonight. May have knocked that ball down. The Goldie hit the left field. Looked like it had a chance off the bat, but got out to left field. Starling Marte actually had to come in a step or two off the fence to make the play.
Yeah, the wind is circling around here through the infield. Two and 1 now to Jason Kubel. 9 for 27 on the year. Now 2 home runs and 6 RBIs. There's the wind. High in the air. McCutchen. Camped out under it. 3 up, 3 down in the 3rd. We're through 3 here at Chase Field. D-backs lead the Pirates 4-1.
By signing up at one of the 16 interactive kiosks right here at Chase Field during any Diamondbacks regular season home game.
Josh Kellman and family in the pool here. Pedro Alvarez. Jason Kubel. It goes off the glove. Alvarez will stop it first. That thing just kept carrying. But fortunately, Kubel able to at least knock it down and keep it to a single.
Right fielder, Travis Snyder.
Alvarez smoked that line down. I think Kubel thought maybe it had some topspin and might die, but it just kept carrying and carrying, got the glove up, tipped it up in the air, unfortunately too far behind him to make the secondary catch. Alvarez on first with an E9.
Error on Jason Kubel. Travis Snyder up now. He doubled his first time up. Takes a strike. There we are, right behind Jason.
We should have told him to back up a step before that pitch to Alvarez.
You've gone to the hat, I see.
Yeah. It's a little breezy out here.
Got the whole Tommy Bahama thing working for you?
If it gets much chillier, we'll have to switch to North Face out here. It looks comfortable by the pool, but unless you're actually in the water, yeah, it's warmer in the water than it is outside.
Nice and warm in the water. The whole group's out here tonight. 3-1. Another walk for Brandon McCarthy. That's his second of the game. And this is not something that Brandon McCarthy does. He's a strike thrower, and it just shows he just looks uncomfortable out there. In fact, Brandon has walked 3 or less in 60 straight starts heading into tonight. That's the third longest active streak in baseball, behind only Bronson Arroyo and Rick Porcello. So he's already got 2 walks here with no outs in the 4th.
Well, you have to go all the way back to April 9th of 2009, the last time he walked as many as 4 batters in a game.
Clint Barmas walked his first time up. Or as he's known in New York, Clint Barmas. There's a strike. I mentioned McCarthy as a control pitcher. Over the last 2 seasons, he has 196 strikeouts and only 49 walks. And he's, as we've talked about before, he has remade himself with a 2-seam fastball into a ground ball pitcher. Changed dramatically from his days in Chicago and in Texas. And here see the whip, the walks and hits divided by innings pitched.
Just got a text from a buddy in Chicago. Says it's 38 degrees with a 23-mile-per-hour wind blowing off the lake. Shut up about how cold it is at the pool.
Quit your whining.
Quit your whining.
They don't have a pool at Wrigley. Although they're making renovations, maybe they'll put one in.
Well, you never know. You could ice skate on it early and late in the season and swim in the summer.
Bring the Blackhawks over. Here's Jody Jackson. She's got the whole family out here tonight. 1-2. Left field. Prado. One away. Runners back to first and second. By the way, it's 75 degrees in Pittsburgh right now. What's the temperature here? 71. They got us by 4. They got a pool at PNC Park. They got a river.
They got 3 rivers.
The confluence,
yes.
The Allegheny, the Monongahela, and the Ohio.
I mean, if we fall in the pool, I'm pretty sure
it's only
we'll
a matter
safe.
of time, frankly.
Fall in the Monongahela.
you
may never be seen
You may
again.
float away. We'll be looking for Bruce Willis in his speedboat. Pull you out of there. Wasn't he that river cop in that movie?
Yeah.
There's Jody Jackson. Jody, get in. Now she's sort of supervising over there. McDonald pulls it back, takes a strike. Hit into a fielder's choice his first time up. McDonald actually a pretty good hitter. Career before tonight, 7 for 49 at the plate. That's 143, 8 walks and 23 strikeouts. Alvarez at second, Snyder on first. Right back at McCarthy, and it gets through. It is center field. Runners will hold. Bases loaded. And 1 out for the Pirates.
That was pretty well executed right there by James McDonald. So many guys, when they pull that bat back, try to take a huge swing. He just shortened up, made sure to get the barrel of the bat on the ball. And unfortunately for the D-backs, finds that hole back up the middle of the field. It was struck so hard. Nick Lave over there at third base had no choice but to throw up the stop sign.
So it's bases loaded, 1 out for Starling Marte. Singled, stole a base, and scored his first time up. Hit into a double play to end the second. And Marte and McCutchen, as we mentioned at the top of the show, have been driving the offense so far this year. Marte and McCutchen have combined to collect 14 of Pittsburgh's first 26 hits going into tonight. And they'd scored 8 of the Pirates' 13 runs. Now you can make it 9 of 14 since Marte scored in the first. Oh, 1.
You'd love to see that ground ball right at one of the defenders. Not always easy to double up Marte. We've talked about how well he runs. He only grounded into 5 double plays all season last year.
Had a good spring, hit .323 in 21 games. Bases loaded, 1 out. Goldie giving chase. Out of play.
Yeah, Goldie's on his own on those pop fouls on the first base side. Pirates aren't going to give him much help over there. If anything, they were probably telling him, no, 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 that ball's way out of play.
McCarthy ahead here, 0-2. Fair ball. Alvarez will score. Snyder will score. McDonald into third. 2-run double for Starling Marte. And it's 4-3 Diamondbacks.
Marte stays red hot at the plate. Pitch was elevated belt high out over the plate. Kind of an inside out slashing swing produces that drive down the right field line, scoring a couple of buckos, putting 2 more in scoring position.
Boy, Marte is really off to a dynamic start, and if he plays like this all year long, they are going to be a team that you're going to have to deal with in NL Central, because he is loaded with raw tools. 24 years old. McDonald at third now. Here's Neil Walker. He's lined out and struck out. Walker 2 for 26 on the year so far. Marte last night singled and scored in the first, had a triple in the 5th, walked in the 9th. He's got a single, a stolen base, 2-run double, and a run scored tonight. He has really, really produced here through the first game and a half. Base hit up the middle. McDonald scores. Marte scores. 5-4 Pittsburgh. Just the 3rd hit this season for Neil Walker. Here comes Charles Nagy.
we're not far away from getting some activity in that Diamondbacks bullpen. The pitch count is not unreasonable at this point at 68, but there doesn't seem to be any settling in by Brandon McCarthy out there on the mound.
He's looked uncomfortable all night long. Just that, you know, it's so much of pitching is rhythm. When we watch pitchers who are really throwing well, it's just get it, throw it. And we haven't seen that from Brandon. Just hasn't had a chance to settle in. And now he's got to deal with Andrew McCutchen here, down 5-4. 4 runs in the inning. And still only 1 out. McCutchen has fouled out to right and singled. 7 for 25 on the year. He's hit safely in 7 of the Pirates' first 8 games, including tonight.
I get the feeling McCarthy's just searching for one pitch that he can consistently throw for strikes, or at least consistently throw where he would like to. He's had the cutter from time to time, but other times it just hasn't been there for him. Breaking pitch has been inconsistent in the early going.
2-2 now.
Back-to-back cutters on that outside corner. Hopefully that'll be the one.
Pirates last March signed Andrew McCutchen to a 6-year, $51.5 million extension. There's a shot of the outfield here right in front of us at the pool area, the RamTrucks.com pool here at Chase Field. 2-2 now. Tony Sipp is up and throwing in the Diamondback bullpen. This will be pitch number 74 for Brandon McCarthy. 48 strikes, 25 balls. Three and 2. Garrett Jones, the lefty, is on deck. He homered here last night. Had an RBI single back in the first. There goes the runner. Shot as a third. 2 down. Walker up to second.
I'm a big fan of that. I don't know if you noticed at home, but Brandon McCarthy shook his head no a couple times before delivering that 3-2 pitch to Andrew McCutchen, and he was shaking his head no because his catcher Miguel Montero was telling him to shake his head no. Some hitters will try to guess along with the pitcher, other guys guess along with the catcher, and especially when you get in those good hitters counts or 3-2 counts, anytime there's some indecision, you take a less aggressive swing as a hitter, and that time McCutchen was out in front of a breaking pitch, hit an easy grounder to third.
Garrett Jones now with 2 outs. Jones had an RBI single in the first, lined out to center in the third. So he is 4 for 20 on the year. Swing and a miss, 0-2.
Yeah, here's what we were talking about with Miguel Montero on that 3-2 pitch to Andrew McCutchen. He's going to shake his head no. Brandon shakes his head no. That just plants a seed of doubt in that hitter's mind. If McCutchen was trying to guess along with Brandon McCarthy, suddenly he's not quite so sure about his guess.
Base hit and right. They'll wave Walker. And he's safe. 6-4 Pirates. 5 runs in here in the 4th. Second RBI single of the night for Garrett Jones.
Catcher Russell Martin.
Their offense, which was completely shut down over the weekend at Dodger Stadium, has woken up here at Chase Field.
I think we're going to say that a lot this year when teams go to L.A. before coming to Arizona. That Dodgers pitching staff can put you in a slump in a hurry. Yeah, very possibly Brandon McCarthy's last hitter here if he doesn't retire Russell Martin with back-to-back lefties to follow and Tony Sipp ready to go in the bullpen. This will be a very short evening for Brandon McCarthy.
Martin has doubled and struck out. Pirates in their first 6 games scored 8 runs. Through 13 innings in this series, they've scored 11 runs. Martin, 9th man to hit in the inning. High in the air, straight up. Eric Chavez wants it. And Brandon McCarthy is out of the 4th. But the Pirates get right back in this thing. They lead it now 6-4. To you in part by CenturyLink, your link to what's next, and by Jack in the Box. Come to Jack in the Box today and try the new Hot Mess Burger. It's loaded with spicy jalapenos, onion rings, and gooey pepper jack cheese. Out by the RamTrucks.com pool area here at Chase Field, D-backs drill the Pirates now 6-4 as Pittsburgh gets 5 in the 4th against Brandon McCarthy. Chavez, Pennington, and the pitcher spot 7, 8, 9 here in the D-backs 4th. Well, Bob, they got 4 in the 1st. No reason they can't come back again here.
It's always good to start a rally with those guys at the bottom of the order. 7, 8, 9 hitters due up here in this inning. Get some traffic on base for the top of the order.
Eric Chavez singled his first time up. 4 for 13 on the year. Eric Chavez, born in Los Angeles, went to Mount Carmel High School in San Diego, and was a first-round pick by the A's in the '96 draft, the 10th player overall selected. How old is Eric Chavez? He is so old. And he was drafted 1 spot ahead of Adam Eaton, the other Adam Eaton, the pitcher.
The pitcher,
yeah. Chavez second base, Neil Walker. We welcome those of you who've been watching the Suns. They lost to the Rockets 101-98. Steve Berthune, Bob Brentley with you here. Diamondbacks trailing the Pirates 6-4 on pool night here at Chase Field. We're out by the RamTrucks.com pool area here. Chase, there we are. Hello. Hello, America. Phoebe has been brave enough to sit. I'm afraid if I sit, I'll lean back and fall in the pool here.
I've got a good 3 inches behind the back legs of this chair. No problem.
Well, what could happen?
Yeah, what could possibly
go wrong? Exactly. Cliff Pennington struck out his first time up. Cliff now 8 for 31 in the year. James McDonald has now retired 6 in a row. High in the air. McCutchen wants it. 2 down. Make it 7.
It goes without saying, this would be a great place to have a company party or a family reunion. God, what a place to do. Watch a ball game. The kids can swim.
You bring the whole company out here and spend the night at the RamTrucks.com pool. Josh Kellman is in there with his. Hello, Josh.
Now, normally, if you throw a party out here at the pool, you would have food for your guests.
Well, normally,
yeah.
But wouldn't you know it? The one night we're out here,
yeah,
nothing. Maybe. And whose fault is that, I wonder?
I would assume it's that man right there, Margarita.
Nice. Don't hide.
Yeah.
You cannot hide from our cameras. We found that out yesterday. I mean, not even some pretzels, something to nosh.
Peanuts and Cracker Jacks.
That's an experienced television mind right there, headbutting the camera. I mean, some Pringles or something. McCarthy strikes out. James McDonald has now retired 8 in a row. Watch out, Mark Rita. D-backs trailing here through 4. Game broadcast only. You can order a D-backs 4-pack ticket deal and we'll get you the 5th game for free. This is a fantastic offer and it's good only for this live broadcast. You can take advantage and call up. As you can see, we have people on the phones that get you the seats wherever you want to sit. You can call up, you get your D-backs 4-pack ticket deal. You can pick your 4 games, any 4 you want, and we'll throw in a 5th for free, but only during this game. The number to call right there, 602-462-4600. The 4-pack and the bonus freebie for a 5th game. Great deal. Brandon McCarthy back out there after a 5-run Pirate 4th. It's now 6-4. Pittsburgh leads the D-backs. Alvarez, Snyder, and Barmas. They started it off last inning. Nice play, went away. Bob, he's really looked good defensively. Really solid.
You talk about rhythm a lot with a pitcher. We talk about rhythm a lot with the hitter. The same thing goes for defenders. And Cliff Pennington just seems to always be moving his feet, getting his body into a good throwing position so that when he does, he actually stumbled a little bit there, but made a nice recovery. Kind of ran past the baseball, fielded it on the backhand side so he could quickly get it into his throwing hand. Shows that strong arm just in time to get Alvarez at first.
Travis Snyder has doubled, walked, and scored. McCarthy reached an odd point of notoriety with the sabermetric community when he became something of a walking test case for using pitch analytics to change who he was as a pitcher. Brandon said, "I tried to change everything I could, as much as I could possibly overhaul." That one gets away. He wanted to become something different, so what he did was he studied all the statistical data that was out there and use it almost as sort of a roadmap on how to become a more effective pitcher. When he was with the White Sox and then the Rangers, he was a pitcher with a losing record, in large part because he was throwing four-seam fastballs. Those get hit in the air, and they often carry out for deep drives or long home runs. Sabermetrics showed that on average, a fly ball is 3 times as likely to produce a run than a ground ball. So what McCarthy did was do away with his over-the-top delivery and the four-seam fastball, and he changed to a sinking two-seam fastball that produced ground balls. And at the same time, he dropped down to a 3/4 Roy Halladay-like arm angle. I mean, you see the arm angle right there, Bob. That's a great shot of it. He used to be straight over the top, and now he's got that Roy Halladay sort of 3/4 thing going.
Well, and depending on your home ballpark or where you're going to pitch most of your ball games, you can get away with giving up some fly balls because a lot of those, especially there in Oakland, are going to just die in that huge outfield as that one's popped into shallow left. Pennington goes out and makes the play. But we've talked about it many times here at Chase Field. It is imperative that you keep that ball on the ground. Fly ball pitchers really struggle here.
Now look at Brandon McCarthy. It's very much like Roy Halladay. That was his model. And you can see the similarities there. And having worked on this model now for a couple of years and had success with it, Brandon tells us that he's much more comfortable now with these rebuilt mechanics, and he's worked hard to ingrain them into his DNA. Clint Barmas has walked and flied out. Brandon says another reason for his success is that his transformation included a consistent delivery, so he can never get too far off with his mechanics. There's another ground ball. Chavez at third. Nice recovery there by Brandon McCarthy. Gets a 1-2-3 fifth after the rough fourth. We'll go bottom 5 here. D-backs trail 6-4. D-backs 6-4. Hey, Friday. It's the beginning of a 3-game series as the D-backs take on the Dodgers, presented by APS Green Series. Coverage begins Friday, 6 o'clock. with Diamondbacks live pregame on Fox Sports Arizona. And how about that? Patrick Corbin and Clayton Kershaw. James McDonald has retired the last 8 he's faced now. Top of the order for Arizona, Paro, Prado, Hill. Down 6-4 here in the 5th. Prado has walked twice. He's scored and stolen a base. And he's been on base all year long.
Well, how about the turnaround from McDonald in this game? Through 31 pitches, facing 8 batters in the first inning, gave up 4 runs on 3 hits. The last 8 batters have been retired in a row on only 35 pitches.
James McDonald's father was a tight end for the old LA Rams. Played football at USC, then spent 5 seasons with the Rams in the mid-'80s. His cousin is Darnell McDonald, who played with the Red Sox for most of the last 3 years. That one's in the dirt. He grew up in Long Beach, and McDonald said he dreamed of becoming a Dodger. And then sure enough, Dodgers drafted him. He was converted from a first baseman to a pitcher and became LA's minor league pitcher of the year in 2007. Got called up in 2008, made his big league debut by throwing 1 scoreless inning against, of all teams, the Pirates.
Yeah, James give a lot of the credit for the success that he started to have after that 2007 season to Charlie Huff, the former knuckleballer who was a minor league pitching coach for the Dodgers at the time and helped work with James McDonald. Mechanics suggested that he use that front arm and the front side, the real high front side, to try to add a little deception to his delivery. He's always had a very good arm, but early on in his minor league career, very easy to see it.
Parra shoots it down to left fielder. Ground rule double for Gerardo Parra. He's on base for the 3rd time tonight. That ends a stretch of 8 straight retired by McDonald. Boy, he's been on base all year. Unbelievable.
He just doesn't miss mistakes. He's got a great eye at the plate, as he proved in his first 2 at-bats, taking walks. And when you throw him a hittable pitch, he rarely hits it down near the trademark or out near the end. He's been getting the barrel of the bat on the ball consistently. Just stay hot.
That was our view right here. That's from our pool camp. Weird night for Martin Prado. He has twice now struck out looking, as Russell Martin wants to talk it over with James McDonald. For more on Martin Prado, Brad is downstairs. Brad.
Yeah, the other day, Kirk Gibson with some very high praise for Martin Prado, calling him a perfect fit so far for this team. He's been a great teammate. His offense not getting off to the start that Martin was hoping for, but Gibson said he hasn't been pouting, and obviously Gibby loves his versatility. He can really put him anywhere in the field. Talking to Martin earlier today, growing up he was a shortstop and he loved to pitch, but his shoulder started bothering him when he was up 13 years old, so he gave up pitching, and I think the D-backs are probably glad he did.
He's been a tremendous addition, that's for sure. 10 for 38 on the year here. The double by Parra was the D-backs' first hit since the first inning. Just their 4th hit of the game against James McDonald. Parra leadoff double here in the 5th. Right at us. There we are, right behind Travis Snyder. Parra will tag and head for 3rd.
And once again, Prado doing the right thing. Move that ball to the right side. Ideally, that ball finds a gap. You end up with a double of your own. But as it is, the fly ball was deep enough for Parra to tag and move up to 3rd base with only 1 out in the inning.
Brings up Aaron Hill. He has walked, scored, and grounded out. Came in on the Montero 2-run double back in the 1st. 0-1.
Like a lot of starting pitchers around Major League Baseball, McDonald tries to use his fastball early in the game, will slowly incorporate his breaking pitches. I would expect to see more of that big curveball moving forward.
Fastball down and away right by him. McDonald throws 2 fastballs. He's got the 4-seamer that averages 92.5. Look at the wind on his pants. He's also throwing the 2-seamer. That's in there at about the same speed. But he only throws that about 18% of the time, mostly four-seam fastball. Oh. Hit him.
There's a splitter that just got away from James McDonald. He uses that split finger for his straight changeup. That one ran up and in and clipped Aaron Hill. It appeared to be on the left hand, left wrist area. Maybe the back of the left hand.
He got hit on the hand in the last week of spring training. And fortunately, it was just fine. In fact, they didn't even need to take x-rays. That's dangerous. Let's see how he's doing. He's staying in the game. So first and third now, one out. And here's Miguel Montero, had a two-run double back in the first.
It's hard to find the silver lining on a hit by pitch, especially in the hand or wrist area, but fortunately it was on his left hand and not his throwing hand.
But that's what you really worry about for any hitter. Anything, the hand, the fingers, the wrist.
You got the grip on that bat, and there's just nowhere to go. It just pinches your hand right against the barrel of or rather the handle of the bat. There's some swelling already, a little bit of discoloration on the back of that left hand.
1-0 now to Montero. They turn it. That ends the inning. Check on Aaron Hill's hand when we come back. We're through 5. It's 6-4 Pirates.
Well, he's going to continue on because he's a tough guy, but it was clear after sliding into second base, trying to break up that double play. We watched him very closely. He did not use his left hand to push himself up off the ground. You'll watch him lean his left forearm on the ground, holding his hand and wrist up off the ground.
Yeah, that doesn't look good.
Pittsburgh pitcher James McDonald.
It's got to be sore, if nothing else. McDonald, Marte, Walker, 9-1-2 here in the 6th. Brandon McCarthy back out there. He has thrown 87 pitches, 60 for strikes. McDonald hit into a fielder's choice in the second, singled and scored back in the 4th. Pirates got 5 in the 4th on 4 hits. 2-run double by Marte, 2-run single by Walker. James McDonald, born in Long Beach, went to high school at Long Beach Polytech, the same high school that produced Tony Gwynn and Chase Utley. '11th round pick by the Dodgers in 2002. Pirates got him at the trade deadline in 2010 in a deal that sent Octavio Dotel to LA. Dotel didn't even last the season. He ended up in Colorado. McDonald now a key piece of this Pirate rotation. Struck him out. Third strikeout for Brandon McCarthy, 1 down.
Left fielder Starling Marte.
And here's the red hot Starling Marte. And he has just looked sensational in this series. Singled, stole a base, and scored in the first. Hit into a double play in the second. 2-run double in the fourth. He also scored a run. So he steps in here at 10 for 30 on the year.
Seems like everything Marte has hit in this series has been from the middle of the plate away. That time McCarthy starts him with a curveball for a called strike. See if he tries to come inside with a fastball. This is down low with that one.
Marte's always had a ton of raw skills, but the lack of refinement has been a little frustrating for Pirates fans because you watch him and you can see all the talent that's there. But he's still in the process of harnessing all that ability and learning, well, to use it every day in the big league level. As Clint Hurdle said this spring, that Marte can almost at times make it look too easy. Hurdle said he makes some throws that just take your breath away. And we've seen that talent, Bob, certainly here through the first 2 games.
Yeah, no question about it. And, you know, if he's looking for a mentor for being a consistent major league player and bringing your A game every day, all he has to do is look to his left, Andrew McCutchen in center field. McCutchen was a guy early in his career that had some inconsistencies in his game, but has developed into one of the best in baseball.
Marte's worked it full now, 3-2. High in the air, right to us.
Yeah. You're all right. You're all right. You're all right. Nice ball. Gotta help him.
You get an assist on that? 2 down. Here's Neil Walker. Walker had a 2-run single. He scored his last time up. There we are. And, you know, by the way, I'm getting a lot of grief about the lack of a tan on my legs.
You'll have all summer to work on that. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, it's been wintertime. I just moved here. We're still unpacking. I mean, I'm at the ballpark every day. It's not like I'm out there laying out in a chaise lounge.
Plenty of time for that.
This is what they call a Bristol tan right here. That's the way it looks. Strike to Walker, 1 for 3.
You've been laying out at the wrong time. You've been laying out under the moonlight.
Oh, see, that's
help.
where I went wrong. Yeah, sure. See, this is when it's good that you're not on the Twitter, because you don't have to take this kind of abuse. Frankly, I think I may be more tan than you.
Quite possibly, yeah. It's been a long winter.
Little flare to Aaron Hill, and that's it. 3 up, 3 down. McCarthy is now retired 7 in a row. We're out here by the pool. Diamondbacks need some offense, down 6-4. Diamondbacks trailing the Pirates 6-4 here in the bottom of the 6th. All right, now I was at 22 and I'm down to 19. This is, by the way, is this the final vote? Are the polls still open? All right, I've still got a shot here. Goldschmidt, Kubel, Chavez, 5, 6, and 7 here in the 6th. Diamondbacks trailing 6-4. Brandon McCarthy has settled in. He's retired 7 in a row now. Goldie 0 for 2 so far. Take a look at Aaron Hill now. We've been watching him with that hand after he was hit by the pitch. It still looks like he's okay. That video of him getting up at second did not look good, but he seems to be fine. You never want to presume anything with any kind of potential injury, but all we can do is show you the pictures, and we can all just make our best guesses.
Well, there's a big difference between being hurt and being injured, and Aaron Hill's a guy that can play through a lot of pain. He's proven that time and time again, and he knows his body better than anybody else.
Yeah, but anytime it's a hand or a finger or a wrist, that's serious. That's twice now, as we mentioned. He's been hit up there. Gerardo Parra is providing a comforting shoulder to lean on. Goldie shoots it to right. Snyder giving chase. That's a foul ball. Gary Darling is the crew chief. He's the first base umpire.
Just foul down that right field line. You can see just a little bit of grass between the foul line and the warning track dirt, and it landed in that little bit of space.
James McDonald is at 85 pitches, 47 for strikes. Keep an eye on the Pirate bullpen. A couple of guys up. Tony Watson is the left-hander, and Jared Hughes is the right-hander. 2-2 to Goldschmidt. 3-2. Goldie 11 for 32 on the year now. 2 homers, 8 RBIs. He has struck out 11 times already. Walked him. Leadoff walk here in the 6th. That is the 4th walk for James McDonald. And Hurdle already has 2 guys up. Let's see. Looks like he's getting ready to take a walk here.
So Jason Kubel was 3 for 4 lifetime with a home run against McDonald. I think Clint Hurdle's not going to push it one more time against Jason Kubel.
He had a lefty up. Here comes Kubel. I don't think James McDonald's too happy about this, frankly. We'll take a break. Diamondbacks have the tying run of the plate when we come back. Going here in the 6th against the new Pirates pitcher. We'll get that for you in just a second. Here is our Chevron upcoming matchup. No TV tomorrow, so you got to get out to the ballpark to see Jonathan Sanchez and Wade Miley. And we have a great way for you to get out here. Don't forget that $5.32 ticket offer. Still good tomorrow for upper deck seating. You can get in here for under $6, no TV. Roof will be open, should be good weather. So get out here tomorrow and watch the D-backs and the Pirates. James McDonald's night is over, and ladies and gentlemen, give it up for Mr. Tony Watson.
He's a lefty. 68 appearances last year for Clint Hurdle and the Buccos. Did a nice job of stranding inherited runners.
Kubel homered back in the 1st, flied out to center in the 3rd. He's 1 for 2. 9 for 28 on the year. 2 homers, 6 RBIs. Watson struck out 2 batters, pitched a scoreless inning against the Dodgers Saturday night. This is exactly the situation in which he's very effective. He inherited a team-high 61 runners last year. Second only to Randy Choate among National League relievers. Only 11 of the 61 scored. Choate got a big deal with the Cardinals. He's in St. Louis now. There's the 1-1. 2-1. Eric Chavez is on deck. Outfield seating here at Chase. What's great about this view, Bob, so many times in so many ballparks, the outfield seats will be way high up. But here you're up just a little bit, so you really do see the ball from out here. You're seeing almost the same angle of the hitter as Travis Snyder is out here in right field. It's, you're only a little ways off the ground, high enough to see everything, but not too far, so you're 30, 40 feet up. It's a very interesting angle from out here.
It's a great illustration for me of how much it takes to be a utility player. A guy like Martin Prado. You play third base one day, you're standing 90 feet away from home plate. You're right there next to the pitcher and the shortstop, and the next day you're in left field, 370 feet away from home plate, having an angle like this and still be able to play both positions and play them very well. Got a lot of respect for guys that can move from the infield to the outfield and play both effectively.
Yeah, it's something we really take for granted. We show up to the ballpark every day. Oh, Prado's in left. Oh, he's at third. I mean, imagine the adjustments you have to go through. 2 different gloves, reading the angle off the bat differently. I mean, so much is involved. Completely different throws. He's just a ball player. Just put him somewhere between the white lines and he'll help you win ball games. Another walk, back-to-back walks here for the Diamondbacks as they start the 6th. Chavez up now, 2 on and nobody out. 5th walk of the night by Pittsburgh pitchers.
Third baseman, Eric Chavez.
Good news from Salt Lake City tonight, partner. The Reno Aces putting a whipping on Salt Lake. Tuffy go switch with a homer. Matt Davidson with his second. Keila Ka'ahui with his second home run of the early season. There's a lot of depth down there. I mean, if they run into trouble and need a guy here or there, there's options. Chopper to short. Walker. Jones, they turn 2. Goldie into third.
Shortstop, Cliff Pennington.
2 outs now for Cliff Pennington. He has struck out and flied out 0 for 2, 8 for 32 in the year. And Pennington will switch hit, so he will bat righty here against the lefty Watson. Pennington last year 253 versus righties, 237 against lefties. 1-0. Don Baylor says there is power in Cliff Pennington's swing from both sides, and they've worked hard on shortening the swing. Here's the man they call Groove, the hitting coach, Don Bailey. D-backs would like to see Pennington become more of a pull hitter and not be so content to slap it the other way. Baylor wants Pennington to use the short part of the field and pull the ball on pitches middle in, because if those pitches are pulled down the line, they can quickly turn into doubles and triples, whereas if the ball just gets slapped to the opposite field, then they can start shifting on you, and then you're just hitting balls to infielders who are halfway out in the outfield. High in the air, center field, McCutchen coming in. Diamondbacks get 2 leadoff walks to start the inning, but Tony Watson comes in and does the job. 6-4 through 6. With 3 great matchups as the Braves take on the Nationals in a showdown between NL East rivals, or the defending champion Giants battle the Cubs at Wrigley Field, or the Rays and the Red Sox. Fox Saturday Baseball, presented by Chevrolet, returns this week, 9:30 Pacific. Check your local listing. By the way, Tom Brenneman, I'm told, is doing the Giant game. And we have reached out to Mr. Brenneman, and I have been given a pool waiver.
I like it.
So you can tweet, vote all you want, but Brenneman says I don't have to go. He's like, don't pressure. Don't let him pressure you. A lot of peer pressure out here by the pool. McCutchen, Jones, Martin, 3, 4, and 5 here in the 7th. McCutchen is fouled out, singled, and grounded out. He's 1 for 3. And if Brenneman says I don't have to go, I mean, I don't have to go.
Boy, oh boy.
You couldn't resist, could you?
Nope.
Cell phones will be buzzing here in about 10 seconds. I've noticed, Bob, that you were right about the chilly temperatures. The pool is empty. The hot tub is still full back here, but
most popular place in town right now, the hot tub here at Chase Field.
The wind has let up a little bit. There you go. The pool's empty. The hot tub is the place to be right now.
I mean, you can actually see the field from the hot tub if these guys along the railing here would move out of the way just a little bit. I mean, what better way to enjoy a ball game?
Ramtrucks.com pool area. We're out here doing the game, the annual pool game. There we are. Hello. Bob has gone to the hat, as you can see here.
Yeah, if these guys in the chairs and the tables would get out of the way, the people in the hot tub can see the ball game.
Rocking the cargo shorts tonight, baby.
I like it.
Yeah. 3-2 to McCutchen. Ground ball, Pennington. Nice scoop by Goldschmidt out of the dirt. McCarthy is now retired 8 in a row.
First baseman Garrett Jones.
Here's Garrett Jones. He was actually the last Pirates to reach base. Had an RBI single in the first, RBI single in the fourth. 2 for 3. 5 for 21 on the year. Got the wave going out here. Where do you stand on the wave, by the way?
Well, for some fans, that's the only exercise they ever get, so I'm all for it.
Gets away from Miggy.
Hey, anything that gets you involved in the game, you know, it's harmless fun. I'll tell you a story, Steve. When I was catching and the wave was really starting to become, favorable back in the day, I used to try to time my pitches so that the wave was going around behind the pitcher as the ball was delivered to the hitter. And vice versa, when I was in the batter's box, I tried to make sure I jumped into the box as soon as it went past center field so that it would be around behind me as the pitch was being thrown to me. Didn't work very well, but those are the kind of things you think when you're a 248 lifetime hitter.
You need all the help you can get. 2-2 now. Because there are ballparks in which he'll tell you the wave's a football thing. And if you have snacks and they do the wave, it's up to you. Garrett Jones, his third single of the game. He's on again. He's 3 for 4.
Catcher Russell Martin.
You just knew the Pirates were going to find their bats at some point. We talked about that series in LA against that Dodger pitching staff. They really had problems even getting guys on base. But a lot of professional hitters in this Pirates lineup, and you knew it wasn't going to be long before they got their bats going.
Russell Martin doubled back in the first. 1 for 3. That was his first hit of the season. Snapped it 0 for 17. That one got him in the foot, I think. Chance to get your D-back souvenirs here. We have the official team store, of course, which is kind of behind third base, but you can get your D-back stuff throughout the ballpark here at Chase Field. I've been loading up on that. I'm into these guys for about $2,000.
Yeah, I got to catch up. I need some new stuff, and obviously, as you can see, whoever your favorite player is, get a jersey, get a T-shirt, a number of different hats, jerseys, everything you could possibly need for a D-back fan right there.
Got a lot of value items back there as well. Don't have to spend a fortune. But I've been sending shirts and hats to everybody. Everybody's representing the D-back nation. If there's a connection, you've probably already got stuff.
$5.32 for a cap. How about that?
$5.32 for a ticket tomorrow. Upper tier seat. Martin strikes out. 2 outs now. 4th strikeout of the night for Brandon McCarthy, who has now thrown, Bob, 115 pitches. In fact, that's probably it. 2 outs here in the 7th. Brandon McCarthy's night is done. Pitching change for the Diamondbacks. The pride of Pascagoula, Mississippi. Tony Sipp coming on. D-backs trail the Pirates 6-4. this tremendous ticket offer. You can order a D-backs 4-pack ticket deal during tonight's broadcast only, and we'll throw in a 5th game for free. And the beauty of the D-backs 4-pack is you can pick any 4 games you want. We'll get you seats. Pick bobblehead days. Got Wade Miley Garden Gnome night coming up. I got my Wade Miley Garden Gnome night right here. So you get your 4-pack. We throw in a 5th game for free, but only during this telecast. So you got to act now. Take advantage and call 602-462-4600. New pitcher for the D-backs is Tony Sipp, the left-hander. And Pedro Alvarez cannot hit lefties. Alvarez 0 for 3. He's grounded out twice, reached on an error. Stolen base. Jones is in there. Boy, he's had himself a night. 3 singles, 2 RBIs, and now a stolen base. Here's the line for Brandon McCarthy, Bob, who did a really nice job sort of saving that bullpen. He gutted out through 115 pitches when clearly did not have his best stuff.
Especially after that 4th inning, it looked like he wasn't going to be in this game much longer at all, but seemed to find his best stuff in the last 2 2/3 innings of work.
Brandon McCarthy back there. Ian Kennedy, Trevor Cahill, Wade Miley up on the bench. 0-2 now, 2 outs. Jones on second. Got him. Pedro Alvarez struggles against left-hand pitching. Continue. Pirates get a single. They strand 1. We'll go bottom 7. D-backs need 2 here. They're down 6-4. Are teaming up to celebrate 75 years of the March of Dimes and Healthy Babies. Please join us in helping this cause by donating at dbacks.com/healthybabies. Tony Watson back out there here for the bottom of the 7th inning. Pitcher spot, Parra and Prado 9-1-2, and we'll see Alfredo Marte stepping in here. Strike 0-1. Tell you what, we sent Dennis for some Cold Stone last night. Got some coffee working. It's kind of a coffee night here, Bob.
Yes, it is. Hot chocolate, baby.
Yeah. Now, it's funny. We sent Dennis on a Cold Stone run last night. Here's Dennis. Everybody's out here. That's his wife, Tony, right there. And it caught on, Bob. Twitter kind of blew up over it. Fair ball down the line. Marte heads for second. He's in there. Lead-off pinch hit double by Alfredo Marte. His bat starting to come alive now.
Marte was still grinning from ear to ear this afternoon in batting practice. Had his first knock, his first RBI last night, and goes down and golfs that ball into left field for a leadoff double. Good start. Overthrow as that ball came back into the infield for the Pirates. Fortunately for them, unfortunately for the D-backs, Garrett Jones backing it up, able to keep that ball from rolling into the first base dugout.
Gerardo Parra steps in now. Parra has walked twice, scored, stolen a base, and doubled. He's been on base all 3 times. He's been on base all season. Tying run at the plate, no outs here in the 7th. Walker at second. Marte moves up to third, 1 out. I mentioned Dennis, Bob. We mentioned, or we had Dennis last night run and get us some Cold Stone, which was, by the way, fantastic.
Yeah.
I needed to eat that like a hole in the head, but it went down in about 10 minutes. Justin Emerson. There's Dennis. This is not the way. It's the kiss cam. That's nice. Somebody wants some Cold Stone. Yeah, I got a tweet from Justin Emerson. It says, "Can you send Dennis over to section 136? I want some Cold Stone." In fact, you got a break now, Dennis. So Tony Watson's night is over. Pitching change. We'll be back. D-backs have something going here in the 7th. Grounder moved him to third, so the D-backs have the tying run at the plate with 1 out here in the 7th. It'll be Martin Prado to face the new Pirate pitcher. This is Jared Hughes.
Get ready to hit a fastball because Hughes likes his fastball. Threw it 87% of the time last year. Also has a short, late breaking slider to go along with it.
1-0 to Prado. He's 0 for 3. He's struck out looking twice. 10 for 39 on the year, Martin. Hughes had a good spring. Pitched in 10 games, went 1-0. The ERA was .87.
Hughes is a dirtbag.
Pardon me?
And by that, I mean he's a product of Long Beach State University. He was a teammate of Evan Longoria and Troy Tulowitzki playing in Long Beach State. The dirtbags.
Pitched Saturday at Dodger Stadium. Stranded 2 inherited runners, worked to 2/3 of an inning. He's got a runner at third here, and he's behind 2-1. That's kind of a dirt dog thing there.
D's and does and dem.
Jared Hughes pitched against the Cubs on Thursday. Gave up a 2-run shot to Nate Shearholtz with 2 outs in the 9th. Home run here would tie it up. Marte at third after the leadoff double. 2-2 down to Prado. 3-2. Aaron Hill is on deck. Here's Aaron Hill. Got hit on the hand his last time up. Ball 4. First and third, 1 out now.
Now batting, second baseman.
This was last time up, right on the hand.
Splitter that got away from James McDonald. Showed you the shot at second base, getting up after trying to break up a double play. Made sure to keep his hand off the ground. You can see the red mark on the back of that left hand.
Tying runs on here for the Diamondbacks with 1 out in the 7th. There it is. 1-0. Aaron Hill says he works on a swing with Don Baylor. Just a few key points. He wants simple mechanics. So for Aaron, it's the little things. Get your foot down, keep your hands back, and the timing will be there. Doing it. He says anything in between all those key points, Bob, just merely distractions, and he likes to eliminate them from the thought process.
Just illustrates what a hitting coach has to go through, though, because every player has different triggers. I mean, the foot down, seeing the ball, quick swing, those are all similarities that every hitter would like to have. But within that, everybody's got little nuances to their setup and their approach at the plate. Don Baylor's job, and Turner Ward along with him as the assistant hitting coach, is to try to put these guys in a good position every time they get in that batter's box and take the best swing possible.
Hughes walked the first guy he faced, Prado. Now he's 3-0 on Aaron Hill. Green 1. Miguel Montero is on deck. Miggy had a 2-run double back in the first. Walked him, bases loaded. Back-to-back walks by Jared Hughes. Marte's at third. Prado at second. Hill on first. And the batter is Miguel Montero. Montero, 2-run double in the first. Struck out in the third. Hit into a double play back in the 5th. And we'll have a conversation at the mound now. Bullpen is crickets.
Justin Wilson, the other lefty in the Pirates bullpen, threw 3 innings in the ball game last night. I would assume he is unavailable tonight. Tony Watson's already been used. So the Pirates at this point only have right-handed pitchers available out of the pen.
Now batting, catcher,
Miguel Montero steps in, 8 for 27 on the year. A homer and 5 RBI. Bases loaded, D-backs down 6-4 here. He has twice hit grand slams. Crowd making some noise here. Chase. Don't forget, you can get in here tomorrow afternoon. Upper level seats, $5.32. No TV tomorrow. Here it is. Center field, McCutcheon. Wow, is he good. Marte tags 6-5. How did that not get over his head?
Because he's an exceptional center fielder. He actually misjudged that ball initially off the bat, but Tremendous reactions, quick speed, got back on the ball, reached up, made the catch. That looked like trouble for the Pirates, but Andrew McCutcheon bails him out with this nice running catch going straight back to the batter's eye in center field.
Boy, he is fun to watch. What a player. Gold Glover in center field last year. You just saw why. Paul Goldschmidt up now. First and second, 2 outs. Tying run at second. Goldie 0 for 2 with a walk. 1-0. Paul Goldschmidt has hit safely in 5 straight games. He's also got an RBI in 5 straight games. That ties a career high. But he's lined out, he's fouled out, and he's walked. He was stranded in the 6th. Prado on second, Hill on first. 2-0.
Goldie looks hitterish right now. Sometimes you can just tell by the way a guy is taking pitches at the plate that he's seeing the ball really well right out of the pitcher's hand.
He looks hitterish when he's just walking around. Hitters count here, 2-0. Got the inside call, 2-1. Clint Fagan, the home plate umpire tonight. There you see Jason Kubel on deck. Two and two.
Well placed sinker that time by Jared Hughes. Started that fastball right on the inside corner with some tailing action down and in. All Goldie could do was foul it off that third base side.
David Hernandez and the Heath Bell experience up in the bullpen. Heater's been throwing for a while now. He looks ready to go. High in the air, right field. Snyder's under it. That ends the inning, but the Diamondbacks get one, they leave two. We'll go top 8 here at Chase Field. D-backs trail the Pirates 6-5.
By a score of 6-5. You know, Willie Bloomquist hasn't been able to play at all this year. He's got that strained oblique muscle, but that hasn't stopped him from really doing some tremendous things. Every homestand, Willie finds one kid who's really struggling at Phoenix Children's Hospital. He brings him out to the ballpark, and so it's our Chaz Roberts cool play of the day. That is 13-year-old Tyler Halsey. In February, he found out he is suffering from an inoperable brain tumor, and so he's been going through a rough patch right there. His father Chris right there. Willie had the whole family out to the ballpark, got autographs, and what was neat about this, guys, is, you know, Willie's not a guy that just shows up and signs an autograph and takes off. He was literally with this family and young Tyler for 2 hours, and you could tell it made a world of difference to him. And talking to his dad, who grew up in Salt Lake City, he just said it meant the world to him. He's a big fan of Willie Bloomquist. And so our Chaz Roberts cool play of the game and day belongs to that man right there, Willie Bloomquist, as always doing great stuff in the community.
Yeah, Brad, Willie's got a lot of fans out here because he's always involved in that type of work, Bob. He's really selfless.
Well, that's about as cool as it gets. Yeah, Willie spends a lot of time.
The Heath Bell experience, fresh off his first save as a D-back Sunday at Miller Park. He'll start the 8th. Snyder, Barmas in the pitcher spot here. D-backs down 1-6-5. And Heath rebounding from his tough outing here in the opening series against the Cardinals. Worked twice at Miller Park. And you'll see very much what David Hernandez has. It's mostly fastball, power curve. Snyder has doubled and walked tonight. He scored a run. Two and one.
Heath has been doing a much better job lately at driving that fastball down to the bottom of the strike zone. His first outing of the year, he just couldn't get that ball down below the belt. Threw a lot of hittable fastballs right in the middle of the plate and up. Made an adjustment, starting to get it down in the zone.
And we talked about this on the radio after the game last night. He's here. He's part of the equation, and they need him to be part of the equation. So the idea that he had one bad outing is just idiotic. He's an important part of this bullpen, and he's going to work it out. I tend to think of the Cardinals outing as kind of a Marlins hangover. I mean, some of that stuff just carries over, and it takes a bit to get it all worked out. They just got the foul ball. High five. Last year, Heath Bell 4-5, 19 saves, and 73 appearances with the Miami Marlins. Three and 2 now. Since 2009, Heath Bell leads all major league relief pitchers in saves, 152. He's been a successful closer, been a successful setup man. He used to be the bridge to Trevor Hoffman in San Diego. Base hit up the middle. Leadoff man on here for the Pirates. Second hit of the game for Travis Snyder.
Shortstop.
As curveball stays right in the middle of play, would have been a called strike 3, but Snyder all over it. Guides it right back where it came from, up the middle of the field for a leadoff single.
Clint Barmas now. Barmas 0 for 2. He's walked. Barmas has been tinkering with his swing, trying to use his legs a little more and get some power, start driving the ball to all parts of the field. Tried it last year, just never felt comfortable for him. So after working on all these changes, there's Jay Bell, former Diamondback great new hitting coach. He kind of scrapped everything he'd changed and just went back to what he did before, and he had a much better second half last year than first half. Bunted first base side. Bell gets the out. Snyder to second. Gabby Sanchez now will pinch hit.
Sanchez 1 for 3 lifetime against Heath Bell. The Pirates, I mentioned with Justin Wilson throwing 3 innings in the ball game last night. We're assuming he's unavailable, possibly very short duty tonight, but they have all righties available in the bullpen, all righties available off the bench. They put all their left-handed hitters in the starting lineup tonight.
Sanchez last season split time between the Marlins and the Pirates. Combined to hit 217, 7 homers and 30 RBI. This season off to a 1 for 16 start. He had been Miami's opening day starter at first base the last 3 years. 1-0. Last year he was hitting 197 on May 19th, sent down to AAA New Orleans. He was brought up and then sent back down. Finally traded to Pittsburgh at the July 31st deadline. Sanchez hit 19 homers in both 2010 and 2011. But before last season had his knee scoped, had to repair a damaged patella tendon, and it really damaged his offseason program. Said he just couldn't lift his legs, do anything power-wise because of the knee surgery. Curveball in there for a strike, 1-1. And as a result, he just wasn't as strong.
And you can see from his stance, he hits out of an exaggerated crouch. And if you've got knee issues, that's going to cause you a lot of discomfort, cause other mechanical issues to happen with your swing.
Yeah, and Clint Hurdle admitted that when Sanchez got to Pittsburgh, he really was just playing from behind. He just could never catch up all season long. .93, fouled off 1-2 now. Sanchez had a good spring, feeling healthy again, hit .302. Homered 4 times in 20 games.
Really had his breakout season back in 2010 for the Marlins. Hit .273 that year with 19 homers, 85 driven in.
There's the spring numbers for Gabby Sanchez. Some rumors this spring that when Mark Teixeira got injured, the Yankees were interested in acquiring Sanchez, but nothing ever came of it. 1-2 now. There you saw Bob Miguel Montero stand up there when he wants it elevated. Saw him do that in Milwaukee a few times.
As he comes up out of his crouch, sitting almost as tall as Gabby Sanchez in that crouch at home plate, but just wants to make sure that his pitcher understands that I don't care if you miss the zone here, but if you're going to miss up.
Sanchez last season, 50 games with the Pirates, hit .241, 4 homers and 13 RBI. Got him. Here's our APS Energy All-Star for the series. It's Starling Marte. He's been an All-Star for 2 games so far. 4 for 8. He's driven in 2. He scored 4 times.
Well, doing what you love to see from a leadoff hitter. Be an interesting challenge here. Heath Bell is not the kind of guy that really spots his fastball a lot. He just tries to keep it down. Sometimes it'll stray over the inside part of the plate, sometimes the outside part. Marte has hit just about everything from the middle of the plate away that the Diamondbacks have thrown him in this series.
There's a strike. Marte singled, stole a base, and scored in the first. Hit into a double play in the second. 2-run double in the fourth, and flied out to right his last time up. 10 for 31 on the year. Heath Bell ahead 0-2.
How about these numbers, partner? 10 for 23 in his career against the Diamondbacks with 5 extra base hits. In all 6 games he's played against the Snakes, he's had at least 1 hit.
Over his last 4 games now, he is 8 for 16. He's reached safely in 7 of the Pirates' 8 games this year, including tonight. 0-2 now. Snyder back to second.
Well, a couple different ways Heath Bell could go here. He could try to elevate another fastball, much like he did to Gabby Sanchez in his at-bat. He's also got that sharp late breaking curveball he could possibly bounce out in front of home plate, try to get Marte to chase.
Oh, where was that?
May have been off the plate, but that's a good location right there. I've been talking all day long about Marte and how much he likes the ball from the middle of the plate away. Try that inside corner.
You can locate like that, you're going to do well. But it's a good take by Marte there. 1-2 now. Struck him out. 2 big strikeouts. Diamondbacks trail 6-5. The Heath Bell experience. We'll go bottom 8. Of the 8th, you're running out of time. Game will give you a 5th game for free. And then the D-backs 4-pack is a tremendous deal. You can pick your 4 games. You can pick where you want to sit, pick some bobblehead nights, some giveaway nights, go see a particular team if you want. You pick the games. You get 4 games, and we throw the 5th in for free, but only for another, inning and a half here. So hurry up. Call 602-462-4600. Clint Hurdle calls his bullpen, and for the second night in a row, Bob, we see Mark Melanson.
Melanson did a nice job pitching the 8th inning before Jason Grilli last night came in and got a ground ball off the bat of Aaron Hill, and then back-to-back strikeouts of Paul Goldschmidt and Alfredo Marte.
Big breaking 12-6 curveball. He also throws hard. Came up with the Yankees. He pitched for the Red Sox, the Astros. Kubel, Chavez, Pennington, 6, 7, and 8. D-backs down 1 here. Kubel had a 2-run homer back in the first. He has also flied out and walked. 9 for 28 on the year. He really looks, Bob, like he's swinging the bat well. I can't get over the transformation from spring training where he was limping around, the knee, the ankle, and all season so far. He's looked terrific.
Well, spring training is a completely different animal, especially for a veteran player. I mean, it's one thing to come out here and do your pregame workout, take some BP, get ready to play a ball game, and come out and take your 4 or 5 at bats in the game. This is the home run by Jason Kubel back in the first, came to the opposite field. In spring training, the guys are getting over there at Salt River Fields at 6:30, 7 o'clock in the morning, going through fundamental drills, working on different defensive drills, taking a lot of batting practice. It's a long day.
Foul tip. Russell Martin hangs on, 1 away. First strikeout for Melanson.
Third baseman, Eric Chavez.
There's Eric Chavez, singled in the first, and he has twice grounded out. 1 for 3, 4 for 15 on the year. Getting the start at third base tonight. You see on our graphic right there. It tells you what position the guys are playing if you're tuning in mid-game. Shortstop. Good balls. 2 down. Cliff Pennington now. Cliff is 0 for 3.
Shortstop, Cliff Pennington.
Pennington has struck out and twice flied out. 8 for 33 on the year. So look behind Garrett Jones at first base. That's how they play Pennington. No 1-1. Walker at second. Melanson works a 1-2-3-8 and will go to the 9th. Diamondbacks trail the Pirates 6-5. Diamondbacks down 6-5 as we start the ninth inning with David Hernandez on the mound.
A lot of good fastballs and power curveballs here at the end of this ball game for both teams out of the bullpen. David Hernandez on to work here, making his 5th appearance of the season. Has given up 3 hits in 4 innings of work, 6 strikeouts, no walks.
He'll face Neil Walker, Andrew McCutchen, and Garrett Jones, 2, 3, and 4 here in the ninth. Pulled foul. Walker lined out in the first, struck out in the third, had a 2-run single and scored in the fourth, and lined out in the sixth, 1 for 4. Now 3 for 28 on the year. Got the corner, 1-1. 0-2, pardon me. Walker last season 280, 14 homers, and 69 RBIs. Walker got hot last summer. He peaked at 302. He had 144 game stretch from late May through mid-July, during which he hit 347, including a 17-game hit streak. But he battled back problems late last year, kept him out of 27 of Pittsburgh's final 35 games. Eventually found out he had a herniated disc. 0-2 now. Pennington. One away. Let's take a look at our tools of the trade presented by Ram Trucks. More solid defense, Bob, from Cliff Pennington.
You come to expect it every day. He even stumbled a little bit on this play, but the way he picked that ball up and got it quickly into his throwing hand allowed him to get rid of it quickly, showcase that strong arm.
How quick he was on that backhand and then the release. Andrew McCutchen now. Single back in the third. High in the air. Goldie wants it. Foul ground, 2 down. Now here's Garrett Jones. He's 3 for 4. He's singled 3 times. Got 2 RBIs.
Relatively quiet night by Andrew McCutchen standards. Only the 1 single back in the 3rd inning. 0 for 4 otherwise on the evening. Been very aggressive tonight, swinging at a lot of early count pitches.
Yeah, the guy that's killed the Diamondbacks tonight is right here, Garrett Jones. Strike 1, and we already knew that he liked the ballpark here coming into tonight. Jones at Chase Field career 326, 3 homers in 14 games. And sure enough, he's got a 3 for 4 going here.
If you talk to Garrett Jones tomorrow, all he'll want to talk about is his stolen base back in the 7th inning.
Crowd wants that last strike. Get to the bottom of the 9th. There it is. Right down the middle. Ring him up, sit him down. David Hernandez, a 1-2-3 ninth. We'll go to the bottom of the 9th here. D-backs need a run. They're down 6-5. making some noise out by the pool here. Diamondbacks trail at 6-5, bottom 9. Pitcher spot, first and second coming up, and look who's going to hit for the pitcher. It's Eric Hinske, and oh, by the way, this was actually Sunday in Milwaukee. High, deep, and gone on John Exford.
He has a flair for the dramatic. No question he's got enough power to leave any part of this ballpark. That's why he's on this team.
The pride of Menasha, Wisconsin, hitting a big home run there in Milwaukee. He'll face the Pirate closer in here for the second night in a row. This is Jason Grilli. He retired each of the 3 Diamondback hitters he faced Monday. Got a second save in the 5-3 Pirate win. He also worked Sunday in L.A. Faced 4 batters in 2/3 scoreless innings. And with Joel Hanrahan traded to the Red Sox, it's Grilli's job. And he did it well last night. Hinske, Parra, Prado, 9-1-2 here in the 9th. (0-1). Eric Hinske signed as a free agent in December on a 1-year, $1.35 million contract, and he was brought in here to do exactly what he's doing right now. Big league at bats late in games. 1-1.
Boy, it takes a special kind of cat, and Kirk Gibson is aware of that. To come off the bench late in the game, you've been sitting over there for 3 hours just waiting for your turn. And Hinske is one of those guys that's able to go up there and grind away like he's been in the ball game all night.
Yep. Two very productive seasons with the Braves in 2010 and 2011. He hit .246 over that stretch with 21 homers and 79 RBIs as a part-time guy. Last year only got 197 plate appearances, the fewest of his career. Did he go? No, says third base umpire Bruce Dreckman.
A cutter right in under the hands of Eric Hinske, able to check his swing in time.
Two now. Struck him out.
Fastball up around the letters. Hinske, a dead low ball hitter. Tried to protect the plate. Thought that one is at the top of the zone. Just couldn't quite catch up.
Diamondbacks with only 5 hits tonight. Down to their final 2 outs. Here's Gerardo Parra. He has walked twice and doubled. Scored a run, also has a stolen base. (13 for 35 on the year.
Oh, I like
Parra
that.
normal. See, I like
it.
when somebody's a writer. Talk about the job that he's done as the leadoff man. On base 3 times tonight. He came into the game with a .417 on base percentage. (0-2). Diamondbacks looking to start 6-2 for the 3rd time ever. It would match the best 8-game record in franchise history, but they need at least 1 here to keep this thing going. Still looking for that hit, that run.
We're still waiting on that pool shot. Might as well be right now.
Since Chase Field opened, 43 home runs have ended up in the pool. 23 of those have been hit by Diamondbacks. There we are right here. Hello. Last guy to hit the pool, Jason Kubel. Last June 24th against the Cubs. First base side, Jones. Really covers, 2 down. Jason, homing against the Cubs. Every time something happened, when you say the last time this and the last time that, it's always against the Cubs. Have you noticed that?
Coincidence?
I think not.
I think not.
It's up to Martin Prado now. He walked his last time up. 0 for 3 with 2 strikeouts tonight. 10 for 39 on the year. There's an update. I rallied late.
Wow.
We got up to 42%. I'd like to personally thank all of you on the Twitter who voted no. And we're going to keep them open for the post-game show. So there's still a chance here, Bob.
Thought you got a stay of execution from the commissioner of the pool, Tom Brenneman.
Yeah, I need a ruling on that. If Brenneman says I don't have to go in, I would think that would carry a lot of weight around here. Don't let him pressure you.
I think Mark Rita should go in the pool for not having any chow out here for all these fine people that have enjoyed a ball game from the pool.
Nothing. Not even a Pringle. 1-1 now. 2-1. Let's get another. Let's bury him one more time.
Yeah, there he is.
Thanks. Come out to the pool. Are you going to have food, right? No. Yeah, the food's over there. It's not out here. Uh-oh. We're sinking fast here. 34. What happened? I lost 8% at about 10 seconds. It's Brenneman's fault. D-backs down to the last strike now. First guy ever to homer in the swimming pool out here. You want to take a guess?
It was Gracie, wasn't it? Yeah, I think it was Mark Grace.
Devo. Oh. Devon White, May 16th, 1998, against who else? The Pirates. Not the Cubs. Prado staying alive. D-backs have a good pool record against these Buccos. Diamondbacks hitters have reached the pool 6 times against Pittsburgh pitching. That's the most pool hits versus any opponent. Good time for one right here. Reaches down and gets it. Can it drop in? It's a base hit. Tying run aboard with 2 outs. Martin Prado's first hit of the night. Diamondback still alive here.
After a shaky offensive start to the game for Martin Prado, back-to-back looking strike threes. He's turned it around. He's walking now. A single. Keep the rally going here.
Just the 6th hit of the night for Arizona. And Gerardo Parra in the dugout. Liking it. Aaron Hill a chance now. He's grounded out. He was hit by a pitch and he's walked twice. See if Aaron can drive one here. If he homers, I'm not going in. That's fair.
If he homers, you're not going in?
Yeah. I don't know.
Geez, if he homers, I may jump in.
Straight up in the air. Jones at first. Pirates have taken the first 2 games of this series. Jason Grilli has saved them both. So the D-backs go to Milwaukee. And for the first time in their history, they sweep their first road series of the year. But they've lost the first 2 here, Bob, back home to the Pirates.
Now, we talked about it before this series. You never like to play a team when they're coming off a horrible road trip the way the Pirates did, because you know these guys are professional athletes, they're professional hitters. They're going to bust out at some point. Unfortunately, they've done it here in the first 2 games of this series.
Diamondbacks only had 1 error coming into the game all season. They had 2 tonight. Alvarez scored 1 run as a result of that error, and 1 run is the difference here. They lose 6-5, only 6 hits. We'll be back to wrap up the pool show here from the RamTrucks.com pool area. Jody Jackson and Joe Borowski join us after this.